This is my complete guide to one of the biggest obsessions in golf. Shaft lean. Everyone wants that pro look at impact, but very few actually understand what is happening to create that lean that you see into impact. I'm going to share with you the facts, the feels. I'm also going to show you what it looks like from the player's perspective to set up to the ball in a way that's going to allow you to deliver the shaft lean you need to get the best compression on your iron shots, full distance with your driver shots, and generally just improve your golf game. We're going to look at the effect shaft lean has on your ball flight. We're going to look at drivers, irons, and wedges. And I'm also going to show you why your current understanding of shaft lean is probably costing you 20 yards in distance. So let's get stuck into the truth about shaft lean. So let's start with mid irons at address. So where should that handle be? Some golfers like to push it way forward. Some golfers like to move it back almost behind the ball. The actual truth when it comes to looking at some of the best players in the world, it's actually quite neutral, believe it or not. It's kind of between 2 to 3 degrees of shaft lean. It's a small amount with a mid iron. Then when we move into impact, where the magic happens, we do see more lean and the handle is more forward from where it started from that 2D camera position in front of you. This encourages better angle of attacks, better compression, a bit of de-lofting of irons, which is what good players do. If they hit with a 34-degree iron, when they strike the ball, they're taking that loft off that club. They're de-lofting at impact. And what we see from the best in the world is this shaft lean number now jumps up between 8 and 12 degrees of shaft lean. Now this is what's really interesting, which is coming later on in the video, where that shaft lean actually comes from, and is it actually lean or not might just blow your heads off, but we'll get there as the video goes on. Making sure that the shaft lean in the setup marries with your grip is so crucial to making sure you build these foundations of where you want to actually achieve impact from the beginning. So the common mistake I often see from golfers with the iron is they start with the iron coming straight out, kind of pointing up kind of belly button, even sometimes leaning back. Then they take their hold, so they hold on from here. And now what we find is with the grip back like this, they can't hit the ball here. They don't want to hit the ball here. So they either start here and deliver differently, and then we see the ball just shooting off at crazy angles because the face is being delivered differently from the lean at the start. Or we see establishing hold with the shaft back or even too straight, often creating more weaker holds. And then we have to see kind of big manipulations with body to try and straighten that out. So the goal when it comes to setting up with your iron is you need to make sure that the amount of lean that you put in or not is in there when you put your grip on. And the best way of doing this is just set yourself up to the ball. So I've got an 8 iron here, medium iron. I'm just going to place the handle so it will touch the inside of my left leg if I dropped it down. That's a great benchmark of knowing where to establish your grip from. So if I start here, it drops down in between. You don't want it anywhere near trail leg. You want it up towards lead leg. Just drop that hand down or that handle down. If it touches the inside of your leg, that's basically where you want that arm and that hand to be set up. So you've basically got that shaft lean set in with the grip, which is now going to allow you to coordinate much stronger impacts for much stronger shots. When it comes to influencing shaft lean, we really need to look at the wedges because they do hold a massive clue into where shaft lean actually comes from and what's influencing it for everyday golfers. Now with wedges, what we see from amateurs is often a desire to really lean the shaft at address way forward in an effort to get that kind of ball then turf strike, that cleaner strike. But you have to be careful here. Where we do want a bit more shaft lean than what we saw from the mid iron, so pros are in the region of 4 to 5 degrees of shaft lean at address, the handle just leaning forwards. Too much shaft lean at address with wedges can really lead to some poor strikes, poor flighted shots, poor use of loft, which then in turn does compromise the shaft lean into impact. And we see a similar pattern with the wedges. We want that low checking lovely ball flight that we see from the pros of the wedges. We do now see shaft leans in the region from the best players in the world of 8 to 11 degrees at impact, so an increase from where they began. But often for golfers it's nowhere near as much as they think. Now loft is going to be the key factor that dictates this angle and this shaft lean, and when it comes to wedges it really shows it clearly. Let me explain. So this idea shows up really clearly with wedges. It actually applies to all the clubs, to be fair, but your face angle is what will dictate what this 2D image of handles forwards or back or level look like the shaft lean looks like from a stationary position if your object is to hit that shot there, a straight shot. Let me show you what I mean. If I turn the club face in, so it's pointing basically 30 degrees closed, hold it neutral, so if I hit this ball, it's just going to shoot left. But the object is to try and hit the shot I've hit there on the screen, I'm going to have to deliver this way. So I'm going to try and really push that hand. Look how straight that is. So I am leaning the shaft to compensate for the face. So the face angle is having a direct relationship to where that shaft has to be positioned to try and hit a straight shot. And this pattern here is the more common one that lots of people struggle with wedges, but with all clubs. If I now do the same, but point the face off to the right, so it's like 20 degrees off to the right, and I want to hit this ball straight now, I'm going to have to try and get that club to overtake, to try and get that face. Oh, this one's hard. Yeah, I slightly pulled it, but it's a straight shot. I slightly overdid it. But I had to move everything back to try and get the face out in front of me to straighten it up. Because if I deliver the handle lean that you see on telly or from the numbers I've just given you with the face at the wrong angle, it's just not going to work. So your face angle is dictating the amount of lean that we see from different players. Now, I play this game with amateurs. It's really good fun. You can play it as well. You can do it with any club. I've just got like a gap wedge here to play it because it's easier with wedges. All I want you to do to play the game is you just got to try and hit a straight shot each time. But you've got to move into last parallel. So stop and last parallel with a nice friendly club. Turn the face down to the ground. So I've closed that loft off. And then work out what kind of lean you need to deliver for that ball to somehow try and go straight. This is such a good way of starting to understand how loft manipulates everything in your swing. Same club, come down to last parallel. Now rather than get a good position, which would be slightly inclined, this time turn the face up to the sky. Bring it down to the ball. See, the shaft lean doesn't work now, so you're going to have to kind of hang back. Face up to the sky. Oh, I hit it a bit fat, so it might go left. Yes, I called it fat because I was behind it. That one is the hardest one. That's the one most golfers are doing, which is why they hit fats and fins. Great way of practicing. Try somewhere you turn the face more down to the ground. Try somewhere you turn the face up to the sky. Then somewhere in between. If you find you strike the ball better with better flights, the more you turn it down to the ground. This is the goal you should be going for in your wrist angles, in the feeling of what you're doing with the face, even in takeaways, turning it down to the ground a bit more, because you're going to find that manipulating the face and in turn the loft, it's what's going to help you get this shaft lean you desire without you trying to think that you're pushing hands way forward or way back, which is actually not what's happening. Now, I know watching YouTube golf videos can get frustrating. There's so much information out there. That's why I made my Golf Swing 101 series of videos, which is totally free. Link down below. Go and sign up for that. Because if you get your 101s, your fundamental set, all the information that I give you in my videos will always make more sense. Link down below, totally free class if you want to take your golf to a fundamental sound level. Back to the video. Now, everything we've just talked about, leaning that handle forwards with the mid-irons and the wedges when it comes to the driver, we change the script. And often we see golfers try and hit 7-irons the same way as they're hitting their drivers, and this can cost them 20, 30 yards off the tee. So at address with a driver, we see next to no shaft lean to some negative. So in the region of like +1 degrees to -3 we see with tour pros. And this is often built around the idea of where we're irons, you're de-lofting into impact, taking loft off that club. With drivers, you're actually adding loft. So whatever that static loft is that's printed on your driver, the number on that driver, when you come to hit your driver at impact, there will be adding loft to that driver if you're trying to maximize and hit the best drives of your life. And then when it comes to impact, what's really interesting is we do see still that little bit of shaft lean, 1 to 5 degrees ranging from tour pros. This is all subject to their matchups because this is what's so important with shaft lean. It has to match up the player's movements, grip patterns, face angles, similar to what we talked about in the wedge, which is why we do see a variation. But the pattern stays the same. They actually add a tiny bit of shaft lean at impact. But remember, with a driver, centre of gravity further back off the face, there's flipping forward of the head. That extra loft, that dynamic loft being added, is coming from other places. And this is where we start going down a very interesting rabbit hole when it comes to shaft lean, which Let me explain with the help of some fantastic pros as well. Now, shaft lean isn't about just trying to get your hands across your body loads or feel like you're really leaning that shaft forwards. Common mistake, lots of golfers I see, what they do is they try and hold on to angles, try and keep this angle because they relate it to this angle down here. They're not the same angle, they're quite different. And then often what we see with golfers who are doing this is they then tend to hit, say, shots, drives, irons, whatever, just that go off to the right continuously. Like they really struggle. Where what we actually see from better players is they're getting the angles out of their swing earlier to allow them to line up into impact, to maximise loft and angle of attack for distance. And what you've also got to remember with shaft lean is you're often looking at a camera at shaft lean at impact or at address, and camera's fixed. It's a fixed position, but what happens when you're hitting your shots, you start in one position, impact's actually quite a different position to where you start. So you might be further forward, definitely more rotated or less, or even further back. You're not in the same position as where you've started, meaning that the chance of the handle getting back to a similar position it wouldn't make sense because you've moved. Now, there's a really good video on this from the guys at Athletic Motion, which I'm going to link coming up now and in the description notes down below. Check that video out if you actually want to understand, because impact and shaft lean, you're really trying to get your hands opposite your right leg, believe it or not. Just not from that angle, from your rotated angle. And your hands aren't actually forward, they're actually back from where they started in relationship to your body. But watch this video from the Athletic Motion guys, because they're brilliant at explaining this. Now, what you can do to get a little bit more of a concept of this, and it can help you find where your straight drives are or not. So let's pretend you're someone who is a bit draggy this way. So you're trying to almost get too much lean all the time. What I want you to do is hit a few shots where you put the ball near the middle of your stance. Still trying to hit target, but what you're going to have to do is try and get those angles out. You have to try and kind of get the club overtaking your hands a little bit to somehow find some levels of target, to try and find it going straight. So to do that, I couldn't drive up to where I would normally get with a driver because the ball's too far back. I had to let angles out. This is a really good way to help people who are holding on to angles far too long. Now, if you're someone who tends to lean back and really flick it forwards, quite a good way of trying to get players to hit shots to improve their driver feeling from this is to start with the ball up towards big toe. Now, the idea here isn't to just let the club come across the face of the ball, hit slices. You've got to try and just push up to the ball with your body, but up to the ball with your slides across to still try and get that ball going somewhere out towards straight. That was a very different shift compared to the ball back, which was a very different shift in use of the shaft and my hands and the angles to try and hit the ball. And once you've done both of those ideas, quite extreme, ball forward, ball back, you can bring it in a little bit and find your sweet spot. Because remember, the numbers I've given you today are from tour players, from the best in the world, and they're all in ranges. They have to find their ball position, their grip, their wrist angles that balance everything up, subject to how much shaft lean appearance they get from that 2D camera. Now, if you want to find out the best way for you to dial your grip in with these ideas of ball back, ball forwards and shifts or left shifts, watch this video because it really helps you find out how the grip will marry into all this to make sure the ball stays as straight as that one.